Thanks to there finally being Paper Mario 64 on the Switch, it got me thinking about one of my favorite game series of all time, the Mario and Luigi RPGs. Bowser's Inside Story specifically was the first one that I played, on its North American release date nonetheless, which just so happened to be my 10th birthday. This was also my first time with the RPG genre as a whole, so you can already see my bias taking the title into consideration. Basically, it's been hard for me to really get into any other RPG thanks to the Mario and Luigi RPG series. So, I want to talk about why this specific series of RPGs has ruined virtually the entirety of the genre for me. It's mostly because of the battle system. In most other RPGs, you select an attack, select who you're targeting, watch your character perform the attack, watch them attack you, and rinse and repeat until one of you is beaten into a pulp. This is the main aspect of gameplay in RPGs as you explore overworlds and dungeons. But it largely feels like I'm just watching my characters attack, instead of actually feeling like I'm the one attacking them myself. However, Mario & Luigi adds a wrinkle into this that I feel takes things to a whole nother level. Action commands. Essentially, they're QuickTime events done right. Instead of just watching Mario jump, you, the player, are actually expected to do something.
No.
You actually push a button when he lands.
Heresy!
If you don't properly time the action command, you'll deal next to no damage, so getting a good sense of when to time your button press is vital for success. Additionally, the special attacks in each game are done with more involved commands, like using A and B to ping-pong a shell to each bro, which adds additional complexity for these more powerful attacks. This adds some great dynamics and, makes it feel like an interactive product, as what all video games should be. This also removes the random misses many RPGs sometimes try to pull on you, as any misses that happen are due to your poor timing rather than being based on the same luck of whether you got the right fast food order or not.
Chicken tenders? I ordered a burger. That's the 5th time this week. Still chicken tenders.
If most RPGs are like ordering from a restaurant, Mario & Luigi is like doing the cooking yourself. Any and all misses and mistakes are your fault. Basically, I'd rather a miss happen because of my poor timing, rather than due to a dice roll in cyberspace. Along with this, you can actually avoid taking damage if you're good enough, which is something to be said about normal RPGs, where you just have to sit there and take it. But with Mario & Luigi, not only can you avoid taking damage, in some cases, you can even deal damage back, i.e. counterattack. In order to do either, you have to study the enemy's attack pattern, as they will telegraph what they're gonna do based on their mannerisms, and accurately use your jump or hammer at the right time to evade. This means that, if you're good enough, you never have to take any unscripted damage throughout any of the games. Not being able to avoid damage in other RPGs just makes me feel helpless, especially if they manage to get a critical hit in on me. I seem to remember back when Pokemon changed from random encounters to showing the Pokemon on the field, and it felt similar to when Apple brings a feature to a new iPhone that's already been on Android for years. Mario RPGs have been showing enemies on the field since their inception on the Super Nintendo, so maybe if you're running low on health, you can try to avoid them or take a moment to heal before engaging in any more combat. Additionally, having the visual indication of when you'd begin combat feels a lot more natural and fair compared to when you're just walking around, minding your own business, and surprise! If you can jump or hammer them on the field, you'll start the fight with a first strike, which preemptively damages all the enemies at the fight's start. Something you could only dream of in other RPGs. A smaller but enjoyable addition Mario & Luigi brings to the table is the leveling up system. Along with the standard increase of stats, you can also select a stat to give an extra boost to with the roulette wheel. While it may look random at first, it has a pattern that you can pick up on and time your button press accordingly. Getting skilled with this will really help you out in the long run. Thanks to the first Paper Mario game being on Switch as well as the indie game Bug Fables, these two are similar enough to the action command systems from Mario & Luigi that I've been able to mostly enjoy them as much as I do the Mario & Luigi games. I just don't quite like that even if you perform the action command correctly during an enemy attack, you likely still will take damage if the enemy is strong enough, as well as only letting you hold 10 consumable items at a time. in Mario & Luigi, you can hold up to 99 of any given item, and items are really easy to come by when exploring, even if you rarely buy any, so I'm actually much more comfortable when using items in these games. Out of these two, I much prefer Bug Fables, thanks to its more flexible battle system, and believe it or not, lack of a partner system. I do not enjoy encountering an enemy, realizing I've yet to tattle one of them, wasting a turn by switching to Goombario, having him tattle, getting tired of this whole rigmarole, and just equipping the badge that shows enemy health at all times. In Bug Fables, any of the 3 party members can spy an enemy to get their stats. You can have one character pass their turn to another if it makes sense for the current situation, albeit with a weaker attack power as a trade-off, and even though you're limited to just 3 members, they end up learning a whole host of moves that feel super intuitive to use. I'm not saying any more than that, go play the game yourself. It's on everything for an affordable price, and it has a bumpin' soundtrack. And yes, I've tried other traditional RPGs before, but the 2 that I did play left a sour taste in my mouth, to the point where I've written off most of the genre as a whole. A few years after I got and loved the heck out of Bowser's Inside Story, I had the chance to play Pokemon Ruby on an original cart, which is where my original list of grievances started forming over a decade ago. The battle system was a snooze fest that felt like I barely had any input on how well I did thanks to the lack of interactivity. Plus, I just didn't know what I was supposed to do after the first gym battle, thanks to most of these games just giving the next location you have to go in a single text box that can easily be skipped by a dense 11-year-old who lacks reading comprehension. It also doesn't help that there wasn't a good map system like there is in every other Mario & Luigi game, except Superstar Saga. The map gives you a very clear guide on how each room is connected, and if it's been forever since you've last played, the ticker on your save file and when you hit a save block gives you a quick recap of what just happened, as well as what the current objective is. These just seem like, yeah, no duh features that every RPG should have. Sometime later, I tried to play the Denpa Men. They came by wave on 3DS. Think Pokemon Go, except the creatures you capture are randomly generated by whatever Wi-Fi signals your system is picking up on. Really cool concept for building up a party, but it falls flat at the battle system that even to this day I can't figure out. Like, okay, this area is meant for a party with an average level of 20, which all my men are way higher than, and because it's a lava area, I equip fire amulets to everyone to protect them from fire attacks. But no, team wipe. What did I do wrong? It's like studying for a test, thinking you're gonna ace it, only to end up flunking it way harder than you'd ever thought of. I guess the Pokemon game that I've been the most interested to try out in recent memory is Legends Arceus. Even though the battle system is still the old, I hope this attack doesn't randomly miss system, it seems to be heading in a fresh direction for the series, and people that I've seen talk about the game online who were disinterested in the series as a whole are loving it. And just seeing footage of it has actually somewhat tempted me to get it myself. Likely as a physical copy though. I'm mostly a digital guy. I currently have over half the storage of my 512 gig card full on my Switch, but because I don't know if I'll end up frustrated like I did with Ruby, I might pick it up physically, so then I can sell it if I end up hating it. Although I felt a similar way with Breath of the Wild. I was unsure if I was gonna like it, and now it's one of my favorite games of all time, so yeah, opinions change. The Mario & Luigi series, and these more reflex-based RPGs as a whole, add something I feel is lacking in other RPGs: control. All of my gripes with most other RPGs stem from the negative aspects and experiences that are totally outside of my control. Mario & Luigi fixes this by putting me in control of these genre-defining tropes, and makes the whole experience more fun because of it. This extra level of control adds to the level of interactivity to these games, making me feel like I'm, actually in control of these main characters, instead of just being a lowly spectator shouting commands from the audience. Wait, that's just being a Pokemon trainer. Is Pokemon just a hyper-meta narrative on the RPG genre as a whole? Nope, better not go into this rabbit hole right now. Even though most of the RPG genre has these older tropes, Newer ones like Undertale have followed in Mario & Luigi's footsteps by having a more reflex-based battle system, but the lack of control they have has demotivated me over the years from wanting to give them a shot ever again, knowing that I'm likely to become frustrated at these shortcomings.
Now, if more RPGs implemented a more reflex-based battle system and all the other quality of life features that Mario & Luigi has, I would be all for playing them. It's just they don't. And I've just never wanted to give them a go because of that. I go through this weird cycle, specifically with Pokemon. I hear about a new generation being announced, I get excited for it, but then I remember why I don't like RPGs. So that's why I have just never played through a Pokemon game to completion. You know it's rough for me when the only non-Mario RPGs that I enjoy are about insects and squats.